Steel. This is a story of boom based on steel. Steel endlessly in demand, endlessly produced, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year without pause or cessation. And of a community and a small town, Scunthorpe in Lincolnshire, made by steel and boom. A third of the population of Scunthorpe, 20,000 out of 62,000, are directly employed in steel. Since the war, the population's increased by a quarter. Every year it swells by another 1,000 or more, drawn from all over the country by the promise of high wages and security for both skilled and unskilled. The average wage is around £15 a week. Some earn £40 a week. And it's easy to get spare time work if you want it. To the unemployed of Glasgow, it would seem like paradise. It's a town of material well-being, a busy, raw town with everywhere signs of expansion and change. Nothing must stand in the way of progress. The shops are crammed with things to buy. All tastes are catered for. Jobs chase men, and it's sometimes difficult to keep essential services going because of the pull of the steelworks.
We could take on 25 or 30 bus drivers tomorrow. The present staff are working considerable amount of overtime and earning good wages. They're earning 15 or 16 pounds a week, but even so, that's not enough to attract the staff with the numbers we want.
The town itself can't build quickly enough to keep pace with its own expansion. The town hall's in an old bank building. The main branch of the public library and 2 shops in the high street. Municipal offices are scattered everywhere. With a civic theatre already built, Scunthorpe looks to a more elegant future. There's a fine old people's centre next door, and a complete civic centre is planned. And there's a vigorous youth centre with hundreds of youngsters busy on all manner of activities. So far, the town's main effort has gone to keeping pace with the housing demand. Since the war, it's built 5,500 houses and housed or rehoused 20,000 people, a third of its population. 1 out of every 3 of the houses in Scunthorpe is a council house, and new ones are still going up at the rate of 300 to 400 every year. This is a life that offers to most of the people you meet most of the things they seem to want.
And there's a bit more money about in the last few years, and that improves you a lot. It improves your outlook on life and the way you live. It's a lot better. You feel a lot better. You can go out and mix with people and feel that you're living the same as they're doing. Cars and fridges and things like that, they're not a luxury now, they're a necessity.
That's right, yes. Well, people have the money to do with what they want, haven't they? Yes.
In holidays now, you don't think, oh, you've got to go to the nearest seaside town. You can go further afield. You
just jump in the car and off.
Yes, you feel that you're like other people. You've got a bit more money in your pocket and you can do more things that you've always wanted to do.
We've got a council house and we're not doing too bad now, you know. I've managed to get a second-hand car. Well, we've got the telly and the fridge and the things that couldn't get them if I'd have been where I was.
I think it's a grand place. I came from away and I wouldn't want to live here anywhere else. I can go down High Street any day of the week, and I'm late for work on occasions because there's so many people to stop to talk to. There's plenty of money around too. Everybody seems reasonably well off, and the shift workers have all got their cars and they can toddle around out into the countryside for the day and still be back in time for work in the evening. And all around they seem a very friendly lot of people.
It's a town full of children. There are 4,000 under school age, 13,500 at school. It's built 15 new schools since the end of the war, 1 a year. And with 400 or 500 new pupils coming along each year, it needs them, and plenty of technical education too. A bright future based on a prosperous, secure industry. Here you might think is the face of the 60s at its best. But is it? Not everyone seems to think so.
There's not the neighbourliness that there used to be. Things happen before you know anything about them. I mean, for instance, my neighbour got a car and I didn't know anything about it until it arrived. Not that it's my business really, but it's just that type of thing. In the old days, you'd known probably weeks beforehand what was going to happen, you see. But that's just one instance of how things have happened.
Why do you think that is?
Well, because of the shift work mostly and long hours, I think. And strange, people seem to be strangers. A lot of people moved into town from outside and they're more or less concerned with their own business more than anything else. They've not grown up together.
Well, I just don't like the place, that's all. It's a heavy industrial town. The people are inhospitable and there's no cultural interest at all. There's nothing lively about it. It's just work and bed.
Do you agree with that?
It is all work and not a deal of play attached to the place, but the only entertainment there is self-made, the amateurs.
The people here, they seem, you know, sort of smug, self-satisfied. They go their own way sort of thing. They're too individualistic.
What exactly do you mean by that?
Well, there's a great lot of snub values here. There's a differential in the wages, and they're that great that you get this lack of comradeship. For instance, I worked 2 years down the Santa Mining Company. It's an underground ironstone mine about a quarter of a mile from here. I worked among the miners, and there was a good sense of comradeship. And all those miners were from out of towns like Nottingham, Durham. Yeah. There was a bond between them, whereas on these steelworks, the steelworker is just wrapped up in himself.
At one of the biggest steelworks, I asked a man in charge of personnel problems how it looked to him, Mr. Gordon Westland.
Well, I don't think Scunthorpe really has settled down yet to be a community. That's the whole point of the place. People come here to work. They come from all over the country, and they never seem to settle down to form what you would call an established community or town.
Does that affect the younger ones, or is it only the older ones?
Oh yes, very much, because the youngsters mainly take their cues from their elders, and you find that when they come, they're always grumbling because there is a lack of amenities in the town that they're used to in the older established places. They earn big money here, do the youngsters as well, and their sole ambition seems to be to get motorcycles and things like that, so that they can go off in turn to the places they came from and the places that they remember. The same with the parents. The parents, as soon as a weekend comes or they're off shift, they like to go home to visit their own families and not stay in Scunthorpe to establish the community in the town.
Well, don't they do anything together in Scunthorpe?
Yes, they attend the football match, that's about all. They've earned the money and they've been able to do what they wanted to do, and that is purchase all these things that they think gives them a good standard of living. Their children, if you like, enjoy a very good home life, or they have all the amenities at home, but they're still not satisfied. They want something different, but what they want, no one seems to know.
They're just searching without any answer.
They're searching for something, but what, I couldn't tell you. They always say there's nothing to do, but if you pose this question to them and say, what do you want to do, what are you looking for, they say, well, I don't know, and they don't know.
What many are looking for, of course, is a drink. Steelworkers, so they say, stop for 2 or 3 pints on the way home and then go out for a serious evening's drinking, plus a floor show. But although they knock back a good deal in the course of the evening, convictions for drunkenness are low. Some take a rest in between, of course, and maybe the entertainment helps to keep them sober. It's raw and noisy and a bit brash, but it's companionable and there's plenty to drink and plenty of money to pay for it. And when they go back to the new houses on the pleasant housing estates, there are most of the gadgets most people want. And yet for a lot of people, it still doesn't seem to add up. They're still looking for something. This is a bustling, busy town. You can almost feel it bursting all round at the seams as you go about. Everybody's got work, and there's good money for practically everybody. And most of them are spending it on the telly and a car and a fridge and a washing machine and all those sort of things. But I don't see you can blame them. Sometimes, I must say, as you go along, you begin to feel that you're going down a road on rubber tires to a dead end with all modern conveniences. In the old days, we used to feel that if people got leisure, then new horizons would open and so on, and it doesn't seem to be working out quite like that yet. But I believe it will in the end. I think we'll learn to manage prosperity.